This lesson, we'll be having an overview on performing batch processing. We start with chunk-oriented processing. A chunk-oriented processing is the pattern that batch application for Java use to execute batch job and particularly to handle steps. A step execute in the following manner. Steps can be executed in chunks. Data is read one item at a time. Then one or multiple processors are invoked with the data to generate output. When a chunk has completed processing, output are sent to the writer in bulk to be persisted. A chunk-style step contains exactly one item reader, one item processor, and one item writer. In this pattern, item reader reads one item at a time. An item processor processes the item based on business logic and hands it to the batch runtime for aggregation. After the chunk size number of items are read and processed, they are given to the item writer, which writes the data. The transaction is then committed. The code snippet in the slide demonstrates how to use the Batch Processing API to submit batch job and how to obtain information about submitted job by using the job operator interface. The job XML contains a step called process, which uses three batch artifacts. The simple item reader is an item reader implementation that reads input records. In the example in the slide, simple item reader reads payroll input record object from a singleton bean. Simple item processor is an item processor implementation that processes the input record and returns an output record. In the example, simple item processor receives payroll input record object from the batch runtime, computes the net pay, and returns a payroll record to the batch runtime. The batch runtime then uses an item writer to store the result. Simple item writer is an item writer implementation. In this example, simple item writer stores the processed payroll object in the singleton bean. In the example, the chunk item count is set to 3. Therefore, batch runtime will read and process 3 records, and item writer will write out 3 records per transaction. Jobs are defined in XML files. A job is composed of steps. In the example in the slide, the job has one step that is executed in chunks of 3 items, and use the reader, processor, and writer that are defined in the configuration file as shown in the preceding slide. The code in the slide shows a simple item reader. You can open connection to a database read item and return one item at a time in the read item method. A no is returned tells the batch process that no more items are left. In this item reader, it retrieves a month year input